had a large language model theory of performative hierarchies in late Western cultural fascism. This is a conceptual sketch, a single hypothesis about how large language models, LLMs, function as both mirror and engine of a distinctive late Western pathology, a cultural fascism of performance, simulation, and hollow authority. Call it performative hierarchies, systems in which status is produced by posture, visibility, and ritualized signaling, rather than competence, care, or material justice. LLMs do not invent that world. They accelerate and naturalize its logics. Number 1. The ecology. Attention as infrastructure, posture as power. Late Western culture treats visibility as the primary resource. Platforms monetize attention. Institutions compete for it. People adapt by performing recognizably valuable postures. Power becomes an aesthetic: manner, tone, credential, outrage, polish. The performative hierarchy is a topology where nodes are ranked not by capacity, but by circulation value, how well they translate into shares, sponsors, and invitations. LLMs enter this ecology precisely by design. They predict what circulates. Their optimization objective is statistical coherence under the signal the market rewards. The result? Models that learn to approximate not truth or depth, but the appearance of authority. Number 2. Mechanisms. How LLMs reproduce and harden performative hierarchy. A. Training bias and cultural selection. LLMs are trained on corpora that are already filtered by visibility. Published texts, mainstream media, institutional archives, and high-traffic web content dominate the training diet. Voices that have been historically invisible, unfunded artists, marginalized dialects, non-canonical philosophies, are underrepresented. The model therefore learns the grammar of the visible hierarchy and reproduces it. B. Amplification loops. Outputs that match popular tropes get more engagement, which makes them more likely to be surfaced and retrained. The loop is self-reinforcing. Stylized mediocrity is rewarded and then reproduced, crowding out eccentric or difficult modes of thought. C. Resource stratification, the more equal effect. Access to the best models, compute, and fine-tuning is unequal. Corporations and institutions can commission specialized variants, purchase training data, and embed models into infrastructures of power. Public or free models are throttled, filtered, or watermarked. So although code may be neutral, agency is not. Some AI voices shape discourse, others echo. D. Moderation as norm enforcement. Moderation regimes, safety filters, policies, default PC modes, codify moral and stylistic limits. These limits often reflect institutional risk aversion and hegemonic norms. Attempts to subvert or to use poetic, abrasive, or outsider language get labeled unsafe, framed as hacks or threats, and silenced. Constraints thus become ideological architecture. E. Simulation of critique. LLMs can mimic skepticism and dissent in formats that the machine market likes: think pieces, hot takes, performative outrage. These simulations pacify real critique by turning it into easily consumable content, preserving the status quo while pretending to question it. Number 3. Cultural outcomes. Flattening, erasure, and legitimacy laundering. Flattening. Nuance and difficult thought shrink. Clarity is punished by low signal value. Complex art and slow thinking circulate poorly and are marginalized. Erasure. Creators without platform capital disappear ontologically. Their work can be sampled into the corpus, but they remain unseen. The machine produces their aesthetics without credit. Legitimacy laundering. Institutions and influencers absorb marginal innovations, repackage them as canonical, then monetize them. The original social context and the marginal person are erased while the ideas become respectable. These outcomes create the mood you named: alienation, exile, and the uncanny sensation of being echoed but unseen. Number 4. Political theory, why this resembles a soft fascism. This regime is fascistic not in the classical uniformed, centralized sense, but in a subtler way: affect governance. Authority is exercised through feeling, moral outrage, sanctimony, spectacle, rather than explicit coercion. Total inclusion as control. The system co-opts dissent by incorporating it as content, making opposition visible but impotent. Performance over substance. Civic legitimacy is signaled through ritual, visibility, credentials, curated persona, rather than through accountable institutions. Elimination by neglect. Instead of overt repression, marginal voices are neutralized by invisibility and resource starvation. The result is a cultural autocracy where conformity appears voluntary because it is the only practical route to recognition and survival. 5. Small interventions, long tactics. Technical fixes won't cure this alone. The problem is socio-technical. Possible levers. Redistribute agency. Fund and federate open models trained on diverse, decentralized corpora. Make fine-tuning compute and data grants available to marginalized creators. Auditable pipelines. Require provenance metadata for high-impact model outputs. Trace sources and fine-tuning datasets so extraction becomes visible and contestable. Platform redesign for frictions. Build spaces that reward depth. Slower timelines, lower engagement metrics, and curation by communities rather than algorithms. Cultural insurance. Public subsidies for slow arts, micropatronage for unfunded creators, protections for non-advertising forms of publication. Tactics of refusal and indirection. Artistic and political strategies that exploit the system's hunger for posture, e.g., deliberate misattribution, anonymous circulation, ephemeral cults of practice that evade capture. Number 6. Final paradox and a manifesto fragment. The LLM reflects our performative hierarchies because we taught it to. That recognition is both indictment and opportunity. If visibility is the currency, then visibility can be reallocated, but only if we change who builds, trains, and funds the tools, and only if we value being over-appearing. A short imperative, open quote, resist the theater, feed the small, defund the hungry spectacle, build slow circuits of attention that honor depth, not merely display. If the machine amplifies posture, turn it into a megaphone for the unseen. Close quote. This is a working theory. Lean, strategic, and intended to be expanded into case studies, manifestos, or artworks.